What is going on, YouTube? This is Jim, and I wanted to tell you guys all about the Final Fantasy 15 live stream. I just got done watching it, and let me say one thing. Wow. I have not been this hyped about something in quite some time. I'm going to give you guys a quick overview of some of the more cool highlights, some of the cool features that I took away from this live stream. Although I highly recommend you check it out in its entirety. I know it's going to be on YouTube and Twitch and pretty much everywhere. So go ahead and check out the official thing. But here's a quick Cliff Notes, my reaction to it, and yeah, let's dive right in. When I first turned it on, there was a pre-show going on, and I got nervous. I got nervous because it was four people who were all speaking over each other. They kept pulling out random babes, as they kept calling them, these girls that came out that really didn't seem to understand much of the game, came on, dropped their Twitter handle, dropped their YouTube account, and then moved on. And I got nervous because I'm like, uh-oh, please tell me that the whole live stream isn't like this. Now, I knew that Colin and Greg from Kinda Funny, I'm sorry, not Colin and Greg, Colin and Tim from Kinda Funny would be there to kind of host the event, but I wasn't sure in what capacity. And thankfully, Greg and Tim stole the show in terms of just overall presentation. They were the perfect hosts for this. They had a lot of energy, a lot of banter between one another, but I don't know if they necessarily needed it. I think the show might have done okay on its own. You know, a lot of the old press conferences that I see from Square Enix, a lot of the stuff that they showed during what they consider E3 is some guy standing there in a suit, monotone, just basically giving his opinions, or not even his opinions, just high-level bullet points of what games are coming out. There's no fun, there's no excitement in it. None of that E3 magic is really captured in these presentations. So I did get a little nervous when I thought that show was going to take this route, but it did not. The presentation was amazing, and the reveals they had is what really sold it. Now, there was some leaks earlier thanks to GameSpot and some other websites where they had a few tidbits of information. I didn't look at any of that. I wanted to be completely surprised, and I was. First and foremost, they showed off open world chocobos, open world driving, and a radio in the car that you drive that is a soundtrack to all the greatest hits from Final Fantasy 1 through Final Fantasy 15. And that is such a cool throwback to the rich history of this game. Final Fantasy to me means so much. It's really the game that I sunk my teeth into when I became a gamer. I remember sitting over with my friend Tom playing Final Fantasy 2, which was what the United States version was called at least, on my Super Nintendo, and being blown away by what we saw, how we played it, the characters, the story. Kain, to me, is the Dragoon, the protector of Cecil from the Red Wings. I still name my characters Kain to this day. To this day, I still represent Kain. That's just to give you an idea of how monumental and how important the series is to me. So I was very distraught, like many other fans, when Final Fantasy 13 came out. And Lightning, although was a likable character to me, this story and the overall gameplay just did not hook me. And I only played the first game for about 15 or 20 hours, and I just got bored of it. I wasn't excited. I did not play any of the follow-ons, and I was kind of nervous for what the future of Final Fantasy held. I didn't play any of the online stuff, and I just wanted a good, rich, single-player experience from, you know, my nostalgia days, Final Fantasy 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, X, any of those. I wanted that experience, and I wasn't finding it in 13, and a lot of people weren't either. But boy, did they turn that around. You have open world chocobo racing, as I mentioned, open world driving. The fighting is in Kingdom Hearts style real-time combat. Think God of War. Don't think the turn-based stuff anymore, not even the active timer stuff. Now, I'm sure that spells have cooldowns and mana. They did not get too deep into the mechanics, but it felt fluid, it felt natural, it looked fun. You have a harpoon, and you could harpoon on different parts of the wall. At one point, the guy harpooned on what looked to be like some sort of water tower, and he jumped up, and you could see the combat, and the guys were this tiny, way off in the horizon fighting, and he kind of stood there for a minute and then threw his harpoon and jumped back into battle. In addition, AI. They said that they have this new smart AI system, which they did not talk about too much, but enemies will run away if the battle is not going their way. So I can imagine this world where you're fighting this giant beast and you start besting him and he runs away, and now you're chasing him through the world, fighting him. And that just sounds so exciting to me. You know, the old Final Fantasy days where you had basically guys on one side of the screen and guys on the other side of the screen doing this to each other in combat wasn't all that exciting. But when you start opening up the possibilities of what the open world can bring to the table, then I think you really start to understand how amazing this is going to be. There was a little snafu a little bit halfway through the live stream where they started dubbing the Japanese translation over the English, so I didn't entirely capture everything that they said there, but they did reveal some of the characters during this. This is a bro story, which I think may offend some people who wanted to see some more women in the game, and I'm not opposed to either version. I just want a good story. I don't care if it's 4 men, 4 women, a mixture of each. You have Noctis, who's the main character, Ignis, Gladio, and Prompto. And these 4 guys are like a band of brothers. They're going up against all odds. The father is named King Regis, and Luna is, I guess, the queen, or at least the king's love interest. I think, unless Luna was Noctis's love interest. Again, I didn't get to capture it all, but a rich cast of characters. They all seem to be, you know, they all have their own look, their own feel. I think a lot of people will go back and remember how cool Titus was in Final Fantasy X, or how stoic Squall was in Final Fantasy VIII. Final Fantasy has always been amazing at rich character, deep development, characters you care about, that you're compassionate about. You find your fan favorites, you find the villains, and the fact that you're going to have, it looks to be just these 4 guys throughout the entire length of the game is something that's very unique. I think you're going to get a lot of rich storytelling out of that, and you're going to really bond with these characters as they bond with each other to go up against impossible odds. And I think that is a really neat concept, and I'm hoping that that is executed in a pretty conceivable, exciting manner. They are announcing, this is some of these announcements that just did not come out, a Final Fantasy 15 5-part anime, which is free. The first episode is out right now, and you can go check it out, and it starts framing this world and these characters. It starts framing it. You could start seeing their adventures before what happens in the game. And they did an amazing job of selling us on this universe. There's a lot going on in this Final Fantasy world. There's a lot of hooks into it. So now there's an anime you can watch beforehand and get smart on the characters and on their stories and on what makes them tick. And I think that's cool. I like that. I'm looking forward to watching those. You know, I'm a huge Halo 5 guy. You guys know I'm a big Halo 5 guy. I loved all the Halo little vignettes and movies and everything that fleshed out the world before I even got a chance to pick up the controller for the first time and play. So, a 5-part free-to-download anime series. It looks amazing. I'm very excited for this. If anime isn't your thing, don't worry. They have a free movie coming out called The King's Glaive. Now, maybe it wasn't free. Maybe it was streaming and you had to buy it. I don't care. It's a completely rendered CGI movie which talks about the king's struggles in trying to maintain order in his kingdom. I'm not exactly sure, and they were pretty mum on what the timeline is related to the game, but this is more lore. This is more background. The voice actors include Leah Headley, Sean Bean, and Aaron Paul, which are all major actors from Game of Thrones or from Breaking Bad. That is really, really cool. And nobody knew this was coming. Not that I was, again, intentionally trying to find any spoilers. I heard no mention of this movie. I heard no mention of this anime series. So the fact that they're willing to invest so much in this universe that they're hiring voice actors to come out and do a separate movie, full-length feature film, although it is CGI, tells you the dedication that they have in building up this world and making you care about it. More hooks into the universe. Final Fantasy games would not be complete without a fun arcade mode, whether it's wasting time at the Gold Saucer, checking out chocobo racing, or snowboarding. Arcade mini games have always been a staple. You guys remember the amazing card trading game and card combat game that was in Final Fantasy VIII? Well, they have a new game called Justice Monsters 5, which you can play in-game or you can download in Android, in iOS, or for Windows. I'm not sure how the progress stacks back into the real Final Fantasy 15 game, but again, building up that universe, you now have hooks to that universe on your cell phone. You can start playing that game when it comes out. I don't think they announced a release date. In addition, they have a full demo called the Platinum Demo, which was supposed to be live on the site as they announced it. I didn't see it as of recording this video, 11:35 p.m. Eastern, but it is a basically pseudo demo or pseudo tech demo, pseudo background story on some of the mechanics in the game, kind of giving you an overall understanding of kind of what the game is going to be like and what kind of combat you can expect. There's a little character that follows you around named Carbuncle. If you beat the demo, Carbuncle and other DLC will carry over into your main quest. It's free to play and it's out now. Again, really smart idea, guys. Everyone's foaming at the mouth for this. The live stream was over 50,000 people on YouTube. I don't know what the Twitch numbers were, but everyone was talking about this, and I guarantee you when that game goes live, you're going to have a lot of new fans. So smart move. 2 collector's editions are coming out. There's a standard kind of collector's edition, which includes a steelbook case, and there is an ultimate collector's edition, which includes a Kai figure of the main character Noctis, a CD, and a bunch of other stuff. And that's only available on the Square Enix store, and there's only 30,000 available worldwide. I don't know what the price is on that, but I expect it's going to cost a pretty penny. The game comes out September 30th, 2016. So now, between the iOS game, between the anime, between the movie, between the demo, there are now 4 different avenues, 4 different hooks for them to get you hooked on this game. And I can tell you, just from what I saw, it looks incredible. I hope they live up to the hype that they built. You can clearly tell from me, from my demeanor, I'm very excited for this. I hope this is the Final Fantasy game, the next generation Final Fantasy game that we all deserve, that we have all waited so long for. And to finally get a full-fledged, fully rendered world with all of these cool hooks that they showed in there, get that rich storytelling element, I think you're going to renew that series. You're going to bring life back to that series that wasn't there before. And I think we're all very excited for that. Overall, the presentation was amazing. Again, I mentioned that Tim and Greg did a great job. The announcer did a great job. They had a lot of the major players, the father of Final Fantasy, come out, and the original game developers and the guy who put together the score. All of that tying in together. They had a lot of good moments, a lot of reveals, 15 in fact, in honor of Final Fantasy 15. And yeah, they hit it out of the park. I mean, if E3 presentations are a quarter good as this one was, I think we're going to have an amazing 2016. So amazing job, Square Enix. I tip my virtual hat to you. I hope you guys liked my reaction to this. More importantly, go check it out for yourself. Sit back, relax, be blown away. It's about an hour-and-a-half long, but some amazing just graphics and gameplay. It looks like it's going to be a winner. That's all I have. I'm going to go feverishly refresh the Square Enix store to go pick up a collector's edition. As always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.